All right, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing today? Welcome to Fantasy Football Draft. We are hanging out here. We are going to get ready to draft here. We are on with Jack Neary, Fantasy Farm Sports. We're going to be doing a draft here, a mock draft. We got a real draft next week. I got it mixed up. I thought it was this week. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see here. We should be just about there. Hmm. 2 minutes per pick. It's going to be like a dry run through for next week. So, yeah. Exciting. Guys, if you guys want, put your questions in the comment section. I will answer them as best as I possibly can for our fantasy football season. I am this year's sleeper league for the sleeper app. I am the Keeper League's first year champion. So yeah. Got a little music in the background here. How does that sound, guys? A little music in the background. Yeah, while we get going here. This should be starting very shortly. Let's see here. Right here. Yeah. All right. How do I IQ? Here? Okay. There we go. Here we go. First pick, of course, would be McCaffrey. Bryce Hall, because I really like him. Then we'll go Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. See, we really can't. It's tough to touch CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase. You can even throw a Brandon Ayuk in there. It's really tough to take any three of those guys right now. I would probably throw. I would probably end up throwing Barkley right there, right after Hill. When is this going to start? All right, let's see. See if we get a response here. Yo, Brock, what's going on? How are you doing today? We're not getting our podcast in today, but we are getting a mock draft in today. You know, little a little practice for next Sunday for our real draft in this league. All right, we will be starting this soon. Jack's having a little technical difficulties. So on that case, let's just talk a little bit about what we got going on. Yo. What's going on? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kept trying to figure out how to get into it from the Sleeper app, seeing if your invite came through, and it didn't. I had to copy the URL code, send it from my email to my regular email, and then use that link on my computer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good, good, good. I had to been working on my car, trying to get that going before I went back to work. Finally got that going, ready on the road. So yeah, so now we're back to our normal routine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For the Dolphins. I mean, if I could get them in like like the fourth round, I'm happy. Fourth or fifth round. I don't think I'm touching them before then, unless I'm really really hurting for a running back. Say like no wide receivers went, so like I had a nice run on wide receivers. I had a tight end I couldn't pass up on, or a couple people I couldn't pass up on, and then I'm looking back in the fourth or fifth round, and said, "Shit, I need a running back." I wouldn't have an issue taking him then. But as far as depending on him every week, yeah, I'm not. Kenneth Walker. Yeah, yeah. I mean that there's a no-brainer just because I believe Kenneth Walker will get a more of an opportunity than A Chain. the Dolphins have 3 decent running backs with that guy they just drafted with Bright. So they have 3 good fast running backs that they're going to be sprinkling in. The Seattle showed last year that they don't mind relying on Walker. hmm hmm Yeah, yeah. Hey, I sent you a link for mine for my StreamYard too, just because people are gonna think it's weird me talking to somebody that's not there. Patrick Walsh, who's your best quarterback pick? Well, it all depends where you're talking about. If you want to waste one of your picks, and I highlight the word waste with a second, third, or fourth round pick, I mean, you need to get your normal guys. You know, your Patrick Mahomes, your Jacksons, your Joe Burrow, stuff like that. But if you want to wait a little bit, you can get some solid contributors back in like the 6th, 7th, 8th round. Brock Purdy, I know people, you know, you look at his numbers was good last year. You want to, let me see here. No, not there yet. Okay, not a problem. Let me see here. Let me look at here. Josh Allen's another guy that's going to go early. I think some people aren't going to sleep on CJ Stroud this year, so I think he's going to go high. I'll tell you a guy that is going way too high. Is Anthony Richardson. I know he'll get you a lot of rushing touchdowns, but he got hurt last year. He's a running quarterback. He's probably going to get hurt again. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not high on him as much as everybody else, but if I could get him later on in the draft, I would. But I'm not going to take him in the first 3 rounds, even in the first 4 rounds. A rookie I like, Caleb Williams. Everything I'm hearing out of Bears camp, plus the weapons he has around him, watch out. And then you got your guys like Aaron Rodgers, who I think is going to have a bounce back year. He has weapons there. Your Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfields. Your guys like that, you can get later on. Tua's, you can get later on in the draft. You get them in the 6th, 7th, 8th round. Jordan Love, that's another guy. You could probably get him in like the 7th or 8th round. Personally, I would rather Jordan Love than people like Dak Prescott or even Anthony Richardson. I like him better than Jalen Hurts, who's going in the most drafts in the 3rd round. So yeah, I mean, it all depends where you want to pick your quarterback. You want to pick them early, you're going to get your top 4 or 5 quarterback. Your Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, your Hurts, stuff like that. Guy I am totally staying away from this year just because he has screwed me probably 2 out of the last 3 years is Dak Prescott. He'll get you 30, 40 points, and then when it counts, he'll get you single freaking digits. Trust me in that. There's Jack. There we go. Jack, you want to add any comment in this? Patrick Walsh asked, who is your best quarterback pick? I kind of want early round what the best picks would, and then later on in the draft, I thought would.
So there were things I did. I'll give you a great example. I'm in a league where there's position limits.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to draft 2 kickers. We have to.
Yeah.
It's position limits, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to know when to take guys and when not to take guys. So I took running backs early, and then I settled down and I watched, right? Because I could watch whatever particular guy I want, because there's only 4 running backs you can take. So So one
Yeah.
of my guys was a keeper. I went running back, and then I waited because there's only 4 position limits. It makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't love anybody in the 6th round, and I was the back-to-back guy. And I went, you know what? The tier drop off here for rushing yards at the position of quarterback changes.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love does not run the ball, right? So you have to understand.
No.
So you have to understand those things. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say Anthony Richardson has a Jalen Hurts-like season, which is not insane, right? It's 23 touchdowns. It's 13 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
It's also
Okay.
10 rushing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also 500 to 600 rushing yards. And if you think he's going to get injured, then fine. You do what I did. Draft Baker Mayfield late. I'm just telling you. Because I did it, and I did it last year. I drafted Justin Fields, hoping for the rushing upside. And halfway through the year, I went, Baker to Mike Evans seems to be working.
Yeah. And especially when you can stack
people.
When you can stack like that. And what
I drafted Mike Evans in the 5th round. I was hanging out with a bunch of dummies.
In case people don't understand what stacking means, it means when you draft a quarterback and wide receiver or a quarterback tight end or something like that that's on the same team, where they basically a touchdown will get you double the points.
Greg, I'm going to stick with your stream. I'm going to kill this because there's a big echo going on. I'm
Gotcha.
sure on both sides, right?
You didn't echo on yours, but on when you jumped into mine, you did.
Right, and you're echoing on mine, vice versa.
Oh,
so
really?
We'll keep the one stream. So I'm gonna X mine off. We'll stay on YouTube because that's where we want people to go anyway. We are gonna start. Right, we're live, right, in your stream.
Oh yeah, we're going. We're already.
Right, so cool.
We've been live.
All right, so I'll X that off. That's fine.
There,
Okay.
sounds
I'd
so
rather
much
have
better.
one going. I'd rather have less annoyance for everybody else.
Mhm.
On a Sunday, we are starting a mock draft. Just to let you guys know, I don't have it live on the screen.
I will have it live up on the screen.
Will you? Okay.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Yep. I already have it queued up. I'm ready to. Let's see here, right there.
All right, so there we are. This is great. This is great.
Yeah.
We've got we got a good friend of the show, John Barbario, on today, and he had a few questions for us. He wanted to mock draft. He wants to get some practice. If you subscribe, if you like our stuff, guys, we'll hang out with you for a Sunday. That's what we're about, right?
Absolutely.
Personalization.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we are. Are you ready to go? Because I
just want to talk a minute here, real quick, about what we were just talking about. Some fantasy quarterbacks. There's a couple of quarterbacks like I personally stay away from just for personal choice. Anthony Richardson's one of them. Another one is Dak Prescott. Guys like that, I kind of like to stay away from just because of, one, the injury factor, and two, they disappear in certain parts of the season. For me, what I'm looking for, I'm not looking for a high-low guy. I'm looking for consistency with the quarterback. A guy, if you can get me 19 to 25 points every single week, that's great. I don't care about those 40-point weeks. I need consistency. I don't want a 40-point week and then the next week I'm getting 11 points from my guy. I'm not going to win consistently like that.
And I brought him up earlier. Baker Mayfield had like 200 rushing yards last year. He doesn't rush the ball. But as long as we're talking about like ceiling and floor, he kind of reminds me of what Phillip Rivers used to be. Nobody drafts him, but he's going to get you points.
Absolutely. Yeah. Justin Mara Price, is this sleeper? This is a sleeper app. It's called Sleeper Fantasy Football, Fantasy Sports app. It's what we have our keeper league on.
Hey, Justin, what's going on, man? How are you?
This is a great app that Jack introduced to us last year. It took a little while to get used to, but once you learn the format and everything, it's a lot easier actually than like ESPN or Yahoo or anything.
Tons
to me,
of
actually,
options.
I think Yahoo is one of the most difficult, confusing ones out there right now. So yeah, this is great. This is great.
Real
especially for a
customizable.
Customizable league. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why we went to it, Justin. We went to it because if you came over here, you were able to upload your image much better. And since our champions will get a helmet with their image on it. They'll get a little mustache pig on the side, and fan tracks last couple years, and you'll get a mustache pig on the side. And we're really excited about being able to do that and hand out trophies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're extremely excited. The fantasy. By the way, real quick. The Fantasy Football Championship helmet is going to be provided by Gridiron Football.
GridironHelmets.com, baby.
Okay, right there. They are a sponsor for Jack's Fantasy Farm Sports. So we greatly appreciate them supplying our championship trophies this year. So
Greg,
let's
ready?
give it up for them.
Woo! Gridiron Helmets. Greg, how about this? I found out the other day, I talked to the guys, and I was like, hey, they go, listen, we want everybody to know that we're not just, another helmet company. And I said, oh, well, what do you want me to tell them? He goes, tell them that we did some helmets for Super Bowl 55.
Yeah.
Some of their helmets were on players in Super Bowl 55.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Oh, that's like you.
That's like the coolest thing I've ever heard. And I was like,
that's
wow,
what you want to hear. When you hear about a helmet company, you want to hear them. You don't want to hear, it's nice to hear, yeah, they provided for Pee Wee football, or they provided for a high school or the local college. But as soon as you bring the NFL into it, you know you're legit. Like, you know the company is like skyrocketing. Their projection is going like this. It's going upwards if they're dealing with the NFL.
Yeah, they did not provide the helmet for Antonio Brown, though, because he's crazy town, and these helmets protect you. I'm just, that needs to be said. Disclaimer. All right, Greg, you want to start this draft?
Yes.
All right, let's go. We are starting. I have the power. You're in there, right? Start mock draft?
I'm in here. Yep. Is your guy...
Yeah, John's in there. He's in here at 6.
All
Big
right.
Skin Punisher, baby.
All right, I picked the 9th pick in the draft because that's where I'm at in our actual league next week.
Okay.
So this will give me an accurate, a somewhat representation of kind of how maybe it might unfold.
I'm 2nd in our league of record, and I'm 3rd in this one. So I took 3rd here. I mean, there's not a big difference, right? That's why I'm kind of, what am I trying to figure out here? All right, this is PPR, by the way. John's league's PPR. I know our league is kind of standard, but I don't think there's a big difference because guess what?
This league's PPR, right? Correct? Yeah.
Our sleeper league's PPR.
Yeah.
We've kind of.
By the way, this league here scores get crazy. 160, 170 points a week easily.
Yeah, and we got a lot of cool guys that we just picked up for our sleeper league too. They're happy to participate. They want us to trade. I had somebody asking me about trading my draft picks. I go, whoa, settle down.
I had a guy that asked me trading on McCaffrey. I'm like, dude, you know what? I absolutely will listen to any trade proposals, but I'm not going to get rid of my guy. Like, that's my guy.
Oh my God.
If I could have him in every single league, I would. I had him at 2 out of my 4 leagues last year. So,
be careful. Guy. Be careful of the Madden. Let's see if I can find the voice. Right?
I know all about the Madden curse, all right? I know all about it.
Be careful of the Madden curse, Greg. The Madden curse.
Be careful of it. All right, let's mock draft. I'm so excited. All right, here we go. Start mock draft. I left 5 minutes first, too.
Hill Jefferson.
Bombs. Silly. All right, I'm on the clock. I've got, it's only 2 minutes. All right, whatever. I thought I updated that. That's fine. We'll get this taken care of in no time. I know everyone loves Christian McCaffrey. Listen, I know Christian McCaffrey's great, but the 49ers also want to get back to the playoffs, and they want to have a fresher running back, which means they're going to dial back his carries if Kyle Shanahan is smart. Now, I've never accused him of that. I've never accused him of being... I'm just saying. I've accused him of being snarky. I've accused him of being petty. Let's see how smart Kyle is, because you're going to have to keep the whole team. I actually think Debo's carries move up a little bit. Those end arounds and stuff like that, breaking teams down. I only think McCaffrey probably loses 50 touches in the regular season, but that brings him down to the 220 mark. Will it be the highest production? I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
I don't think so. And I've got a lot of guys really high and happy, but if I believe that Raheem Morris is going to bring over the offense from Atlanta, or from the Rams to Atlanta, they're going to want a guy. Tyler Algier is going to get some run. You got Breece Hall sitting there. Oh, and look at all of a sudden the guy that I've been talking about the whole time, Saquon Barkley, starting to move up the list.
Mhm.
I'm going to stick with my guy. I still think he's going to have a fantastic season. By the way, Saquon Barkley coming to Philadelphia is a homecoming, guys. He grew up just outside of Pittsburgh, or just outside of Harrisburg. So I'll take Saquon Barkley. I'll stick on theme here.
Nice. Well, he was my third-rated running back going into this.
That's fine. 1, 2, 3 is what? Nothing.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Pigskin Punisher is on the clock. What you got, Pigskin Punisher? All right, while we're talking, so what other guys went? So after Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson went. The only thing that scares me about Bijan Robinson is Tyler Algier is there.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same. Yes. It's the same.
And they already said that he's going to get a little bit more than he did.
All right, Pigskin Punisher went ahead and took Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then Breece Hall went 7. I would not take Amon-Ra St. Brown there. I just want to let everybody know. I would take Breece Hall. I think that's a no-brainer. I think Breece Hall is more valuable than Amon-Ra St. Brown. A lot of mouths to feed in Detroit. And I need running backs. Unless, do you really believe in Brian Robinson Jr. that you're going to steal in the 7th? I don't.
Yeah, I don't like that there, considering there's a lot more out there than him.
CeeDee Lamb's starting to slip in drafts. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to really hold out. By the way, Jamar Chase was at practice today. I don't think that holdout's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's going to sit down with him. They're buddies from college. They're going to find him money. I think CeeDee Lamb's sitting there going, you paid Zeke. And by the way, I think Zeke might be counseling him a little bit.
That's a good possibility.
It needs to be said that Zeke's going, hey, have Jerry pay you. You're on the clock, by the way. I'm just kind of talking you through it.
I'm kind of looking right now because
Talk to us. What are you thinking?
I would probably go running back. I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor or Gibbs here, but Jamar Chase is really hard to pass up. But it's one of those things. Is he going to play?
I think he is. I think that's going to happen. I think Jamar Chase is tough to pass up here as well. I think you're missing Kyron Williams. He's probably going to have a nice year as a Ram.
That's one of those running backs that I would stay away from.
Okay, I understand that.
So I wouldn't be drafting him anyway. So we are going to go Jamar Chase.
Because Blake Corum looks a lot like Kyron Williams, and I believe that they're going to be in a switching role.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to happen. And by the way, as a defense, you're not going to know who's the guy. You better know. McVay likes doing that stuff. He's smart. McVay's a smart cat.
Now, see, here is where it gets interesting. Okay, on a snake draft like this, we want Jamar Chase, so we got a stud wide receiver. We could turn around and get another stud wide receiver. Anybody from Garrett Wilson, a rookie, Marvin Harrison, Puka. We could get, there's multiple guys here we could take. Or we could turn around and we could get our player that I was thinking about before, Jamar Gibbs. Again, Jack's higher on Williams than I am. I would stay away from ETN. I'm not really high on him. Guy I do like is Derrick Henry, but not this high.
Greg, there's only one guy here with no question marks.
There's
only one guy out of all those guys that you mentioned with no question marks. Ooh, I took the guy with question marks.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I like to spread my team out early. I don't like to load up on one position.
Which guy did you think I liked?
Wide receiver. Wilson.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
There's no question marks there.
And that was one of what I was thinking. I get Jamar Chase and who's going to be Aaron Rodgers, number 1, is Wilson. But then you turn around, you can get a stud wide receiver. Anybody that watched the Lions last year knows Gibbs transitioned into that number 1 running back.
All right, I'm on the clock.
We actually talked about that in a podcast we did.
Yeah, I've got Drake London. I'm looking at Drake London, Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs. That's my tier of wide receiver. Running back, which I already have, Saquon Barkley. I'm looking at ATN, Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, I mean, I can't take A-Chain here. But I'll tell you what, I will do something for everyone watching. I'm gonna take a wide receiver.
Okay.
Right? Let's get that out of the way. I'm not gonna take another running back here. I can figure out running backs late. There's a couple of guys I like late. So we'll talk about the 1 minute remaining on my clock, by the way. You guys should pay attention to the clock, because what happens on the clock is you get talking, you get thinking, you get scrolling through different things, and all of a sudden you're stuck with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, or 5 seconds, you get it, the red there, and you panic. You have to pick somebody, so you panic.
We're all going to be having some beverages. Let's not pretend like we're not, okay? So no, plan 2 picks ahead to have 5 guys, because what will happen is 3 of them will be picked, and you'll have 2 left over, and then you have a real decision to make, okay? We're talking friends, right? 32 seconds left. London, Olave, Ayuk, or Evans. Ayuk still doesn't play for a football team. He plays as much football as we do, Greg.
I know.
Listen, I like Olave. There's still a lot of movement there. Drake London, the hype is high, but he's never really delivered. I'm going to stick with a steady Eddie, and he's going to give me 1,000 yards. He's going to give me 9 touchdowns, and he's going to get Baker Mayfield again. That's Mike Evans.
Okay, all right.
That's a good pick.
Absolutely, especially if you get Mike Evans later on in the draft. Or Baker Mayfield later on in the draft.
Back on the turn here. I could go Olave. See how I played that? Right, nobody was really all that high. I lost what? I lost Josh Allen, or I saw ATN, Drake London, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen. Great. Josh Allen could come off really high, and someone's gonna have to do that in their draft. Okay, someone's gonna have to make that move, but it's not gonna be me. We talked about taking him and not taking him, but I want to see how it feels. That's my point, right? We do these mock drafts to see how certain guys feel for us, right? And if you feel like I took and I felt like it felt like a mistake, but afterwards I looked and it wasn't. I took Deontay Johnson in the 9th round in my one draft, and I thought it was a great move, right? Because he's the number 1 in Carolina, and Dave Canales is going to scheme open guys for him. For Bryce Young. So I feel like if I believe that Bryce Young can pinpoint certain guys and throw accurate passes, which I do, I think Deontay Johnson's a guy that gets open. So in the 9th round, he felt good to me. This is not going to feel great, but I want to see if I can recover later on if I have to. So here comes Devon A-Chain.
Okay.
Listen, he's been hyped, the hype master. He's been Mr. Popular. I just want to see how it feels. Normally, I've been taking James Cook there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy before he got hurt, he was averaging like 6-8 yards a carry. It was something ridiculous. It was like, wow, if he could do that throughout a season, or even close to that, I mean, his projections are out of this world.
All right, who did the pigskin? Pigskin took, Pigskin Punisher, by the way, went Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kyron Williams, Rashad White. Those are solid picks. If you I'm
not big on the White. I think there's multiple other better running backs than White out there.
Really? Well,
yeah,
James Cook, Josh
I would take Kenneth Walker over him. I mean, just for instance, in my queue area, my 3 running backs that I have right now is Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, and Josh Jacobs. Those are the 3 running backs that I have in my queue right now. All the other ones I have off to the side until later on in the draft.
My only thing with White is that if there's any regression within that offense, it could be Baker touchdowns. But as we saw the other day, 3 for 3, 54 yards, Rashad White touchdown. Okay, every running back Mayfield's ever had has been good. And we didn't know if White was going to be that guy. But it means Baker puts you in advantageous positions.
Yeah.
So White's going to give you 250 plus carries. Probably 1,300 yards.
Yeah.
How many touchdowns will be how many open spots he finds them. That's just, so all these people going, oh, Rashad White's not going to, it doesn't matter. They're running the ball.
Yeah, he's going to get touches. All right, so I am on the clock. My first pick, wide receiver. Second pick was a running back. So what I'm looking at right now is just probably filling out my next two as the running back and the my wide receiver again. Looking at the wide receivers, I mean, I can't pass up this guy. I mean, he'll get you anywhere from 15 to 30 points a week, right here, Debo Samuels. And then I turn right back around, and I could get a guy that I had last year that I want that I really like. If you look at the running backs, that's where I'm looking at right now.
You like Samuel over Olave?
I do, and because of who's throwing him the ball.
Okay.
You got Carr that's throwing Olave the ball. We talked about that before. How
we have
how Carr likes to get throw the ball where his guys get hurt. That wears on you after a while. So that's why I kind of stayed away from him. I had.
How dare you use my words against me when I'm trying to argue for a guy? How dare? Don't you do that? Oh, but, maybe they're friends now. Maybe their kids are hanging out together. It's a new year, Greg.
I understand. Now, this is something that could be interesting. You could go running back right here, or you could go tight end. You could be the first one to take a tight end off the board. But tight end is one of those ones that could be very, very deep. You can get a guy that's pretty decent in the 6th or 7th round. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take my next running back off the board who I really like. And that's Kenneth Walker.
That's a great pick.
I think
you guys have no idea.
He was the best one on the board.
Kenneth Walker's a really good running back. And you know what? There's not a lot. I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to go, well, there's a little bit of Marshawn Lynch to him with more speed.
He's not afraid. Yeah. He's like mini beast mode.
There's a little bit of wiggle, and he punishes. He hits you. Mm-hmm. All right, so who did, let's see. We're coming back here. Listen, Pigskin's having a good draft. I nailed him for the Amon-Ra St. Brown pick. But he went Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kyron Williams, Rashad White, Cooper Kupp. That's a great pick there. Mm-hmm. It really is. That's a fantastic move. I'll tell you what. If there's a guy you like and you feel like you made a mistake taking him too early, maybe you did. You could always recover. The draft's not over when you make a mistake.
No,
please
absolutely
that.
not.
People go and give up just because they made a bad pick. You can duct tape certain spots. I got 1:22 left on my clock. I have picked Saquon Barkley, Mike Evans, and Devon A-Chain. Maybe I swung for the fences there. I don't know. I've got 2 running backs down. If I really I do. If I really love a running back here, I'll take him. I'll tell you what. I'm perfectly fine with this combination of running backs. I can figure out wide receiver 4 days. Give me James Ken Cook in Buffalo. Okay. That's a great pick there. 4th round, I just stole James Cook, and I went A-Chain early, and you might be able to do that too.
Now, I might have went a different route. There's 2 other running backs that I like a little bit better than Cook. That's DeAndre Swift. I already told you how I feel about him. I think he's going to do very good for Chicago. But Joe Mixon, he's a guy that I normally don't take in the draft, in any fantasy football draft throughout my years. But Jack made a strong case for him a few weeks ago. And the more and more I thought about it, especially here, he's going to be the bell cow for Houston. So I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah. I was going to take a wide receiver here because that's probably what I should do, right? I should take a wide receiver here.
There's a ton of them.
There's a ton of wide receivers.
You got Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith. I'd stay away from Flowers myself. You also have Tank Dell. I'm not high on Pickens. Amari Cooper, who was a silent sleeper last year, who got me a lot of points. You got touchdown machine T. Higgins in there.
I don't listen to a lot, right? I don't listen. I like my own picks. I stick with my own guys, right? That's kind of how I do. But this technically happens to be both of our guys. With 47 seconds left. Greg, you just sold me on Joe Mixon.
There you go.
Listen, because the A-Chain thing could be a problem. I'm stacking them.
Yes. And that's smart. Like you said, just because you make one move that you possibly is wrong, you can make up for it.
And by the way, he's a home run hitter. He's a home run hitter guy. And maybe you have your home run hitter later on in your draft. You see a guy like Jordan Addison last year, right? Absolute, brings the wood, smashes home runs. But you better have guys like Joe Mixon.
Exactly. and it's one of those things. If Singletary did what he did last year for Houston, imagine what a good running back with Mixon could do.
I'm still super happy with a couple wide receivers left.
There's tons of wide receivers left. Tons.
Huh?
Tons of wide receivers left. Like, I'm talking like starting quality, not like fillers or anything. Tons. DK Metcalf, great one.
Yeah, that's a good pick there.
Big Skin took my running back. He took Swift. I like
Look
Swift.
at that. He's listening to you.
Yeah, I like Swift a lot. I'm telling you. They have so many weapons there. And I think
I can't believe it. He sniped you with your own words. I did too. Keep talking, Greg. I'm listening. Come on, who are you taking?
So now it comes back on me. If you look at my team, I got two running backs. I got my 2 wide receivers. So now what we're looking at a flex or a tight end.
Flex first, guys. Let's see those arms. Flex. Look at that. Right over Fantasy Farm Sports, we got that flex. Yeah.
The flex.
There you go.
The flex. A guy that is just like staring me at the face right now, like staring at me and saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. And it's hard not to. I mean, especially former Bama guy, he's going to get a lot of targets. They have 3 stud wide receivers now that they traded for Dotson from the Commanders. So we're going to run with Devontae Smith on this one.
Yeah, that's a great pick there.
I like
that.
He's
a little undervalued, but that's a great pick there.
And for a flex position, he's great. Perfect. Now what we do is we turn around, and now what we're going to do is we're going to draft a tight end. But we're going to do something that I normally wouldn't do.
I already know what you're going to do.
Yeah. Normally, I would just go ahead and I would see George Kittle, and he'd be my guy.
Yep.
I can't do that for the fact that I don't like having a tight end and wide receiver on the same team.
Why not?
I don't mind a running back and a tight end on the same team. It takes away red zone touches.
Yep, that's a good point.
So I try to stay away from that if I can.
It's a great point.
So what I'm going to do is I had a guy last year who was a rookie who did somewhat decent, and he's projected to do very, very well this year. This might be actually this is right around where he's being drafted.
Go ahead, just pick him.
Bill's guy. Dalton.
You go ahead, just pick him. By the way, who's got him rated number 1? Who's got him rated number 1? I'm just wondering.
So he's there. A guy that if I had to wait, say Kincaid was gone, a guy I really like, and he's a rookie this year, is Brock Bowers. I mean, I know he really doesn't have anybody throwing into him with the Raiders, but oh man, that guy's going to be good. Brock Bowers, generational tight end talent.
I like Bowers a little bit because the rule is if you have an undetermined quarterback, which they do for the Vegas Raiders, he'll usually go to the tight end. The problem with that is you have such a star there in Devontae Adams. So now Minshew has 2 guys to support. I think Minshew can play, and he's going to have to put up points in that division. I mean, for all the knocks on Minshew, he could put the ball in a decent spot, and he believes. The reason why he beat out Aiden O'Connell is because Aiden O'Connell doesn't believe in himself enough. He doesn't. By the way, he doesn't even believe in his own facial hair. That guy's mustache is weak. I'm saying, if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, Minshew walks around thinking he's a Panther. And Aiden O'Connell might have it, but he doesn't. Tom Brady always thought he had it. Drew Bledsoe, much more talent than Tom Brady. Never believed that. So, pigskin punishment. You are on the clock with 30 seconds left. I hope you have a plan here.
Yeah, now's where it starts getting a little interesting.
This is where you have to have plans
off the board. Yeah. Yep.
I've got 2 guys in mind. Actually, I've got a couple guys in mind, but I've got 2 that I'd really like to have. But this is where you need to start looking around. Okay, he took George Kittle. That's a great pick. Tank Dell, Anthony Richardson. I am on the clock.
Yeah, there's so much here. Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. You even can make a case for. Maybe not this early, but maybe next 2 rounds. Still got Scary Terry on there. You got Jalen Daniels throwing him the ball, so he's going to get touches.
So I've got so many options here. I really do. And I think what I'm going to do is what I did back in the 3rd round. Now, we knock this guy all the time, and I told you guys to stay away from this team offensively. I told you to. Do not draft players from this team. I said that. But he only had 61 receptions last year, and he still went over 1,000 yards. You know how insane that is? I want you to think about that. And that was practically 4 games. That was 4 games that happened in. And he basically went over 1,000 yards. I'm going to take the upside here. I'm going to say that Arthur Smith has figured out, and I watched a game yesterday where Pittsburgh featured Pickens.
Okay.
They got him the ball in spots. And I thought, hey, that's interesting because no one's paying attention to that. I'll take George Pickens here.
Very nice pick. All right, hey, we got a few comments here. Absolutely. I like that pick. I like that pick a lot.
Let's take care of those comments.
Cooper was another one. It was in between him or Amari that I would like. We got 3 comments on here. We got some questions here.
Right.
I was just offered a trade: DK Metcalf and Cooper Kupp for Devontae Adams and Brandon Ayuk. Who wins this trade? I would get Adams and Ayuk.
Oh, you lose that trade.
That's a tough one.
You lose that trade. No, because you're only getting offered 1 football player.
Well, as of right now.
But that's all we know. I mean, that guy's duping you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the best situation is Washington offers San Francisco 90 picks, and Ayuk goes and plays with Daniels. The Niners are ticked off at Ayuk right now, and you think Shanahan's going to draw up plays for him to get the ball? You're wrong. I know Kyle Shanahan. He's petty.
He is petty, but if he resigns, Kyle also understands it's a business. So
Kyle Shanahan had already drawn up his first game for last week.
I understand that, but he'll get the same treatment Deebo Samuels did when he signed. As soon as he signed, he'll be in there. He'll be good to go.
Greg, how many targets?
But anyways, who I think wins this trade is DK Metcalf and Cooper Kupp.
That's right. I got 39 seconds on the clock.
Oh, go ahead.
36, 35. I'm going to take the other wide receiver here, but he happens to play tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Evan Ingram. I love that pick.
Yeah,
Evan
he came on
Ingram's a
strong
monster.
last year. Second half of the season, he came on strong.
So I didn't love
again, Devontae Adams, you got Gardner Minshew throwing the ball. I'm not sold on that. So yeah, I think DK Metcalf and Cooper Kupp is the way to go. We got John. We got definitely listening. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.
He stole your picks. That's our pigskin punisher.
Yep. Yes, he did. All right, Zane, we will get to you in 1 second. I have to get my pick in. All right, so what we are looking at here, we got a...
I can't believe you took Dalton
got
Kincaid on me.
What's that?
Can't believe you took Dalton Kincaid on me.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't
to me? Yeah, I know. I made a compelling case for him.
Oh, absolutely. See, now right now is where you go for depth. I could do one of two things. I could go for wide receiver depth, or I could go for running back depth. Really not liking the first 5 picks here on running back, so I'm not even worried about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to wide receiver, and there's a couple names that stick right out right away. We got Chris Godwin, who is moving back to the slot receiver role, which I think is going to be huge for him because that's where he originally started off with at, and that's basically where he made his money, was in the slot position, not on the outside opposite of Evans. Then
right.
we have a rookie. We got a rookie, Xavier Worthy, who is going to take the top off of that defense. And if anybody knows anything about Patrick Mahomes, he's good with those off-scripted plays, and he'll be able to hit them downfield. He's not just a speedy guy. He is a speedy guy that has hands. So, guys, he is a guy that touched the hell out of the ball. So what I think I am going to do here is I'm going to go with my gut feeling here. And I am going to go with somebody like Chris Godwin, who I think is going to have a bounce back year.
That's a great. And by the way, Chris Godwin, still went over 1,000 yards last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Just didn't have the
Absolutely.
touchdown. Just wasn't featured in the touchdown role, and he was banged up for a couple of weeks too.
Yep.
So, and by the way, here's what I like about Baker Mayfield. You guys know I like him anyway. But the games for which Godwin's numbers decreased, he still caught like 3 or 4 catches. But Mayfield didn't put him in any compromising positions. If there was a guy ready to hit him, he kind of left it alone and found a way elsewhere. He really did that.
Yep. All right, guys, this is going to be an easy pick for me. The only guy that really stands out for me, the running back and wide receiver, is Xavier Worthy. Everybody else, I think, I could is comparable to other people later on in the draft. So I talked earlier about stacking your team, and with our first pick, we grabbed Jamar Chase. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to be that guy that takes a quarterback, and we are going to go Joe Burrow.
That's a good pick. That's a great pick, actually. That's
I really like stacking a quarterback and wide receiver. I think that's really smart. I could have waited and got somebody like Brock Purdy, but I really think Burrow's going to have a strong bounce back year.
It's great when people look at their phone, they go, how do you get 12 points? You know I got 12 points.
All right. We got, let's see here. We got Zane. Do I start 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, 8-man league? CD, DK, Debo, Neighbors, Goodwin, or Worthy?
All right, I'm on the clock, I believe. Yeah, I'm on the clock. I've got a minute 54. I just took my tight end last round. I really like my running backs, obviously. I've got 1 million of them. I'm a running back collector. I need another wide receiver, though, and I'm so glad that you passed on him, Greg, because the whole time you kept talking, I went, man, I'll tell you what, if you take him away from me, I'll be very angry. Here's what I wanted to happen. I wanted Calvin Ridley to fall to me.
Okay.
Because they paid him to help Will Levis, right? And I think Will Levis isn't much different than Trevor Lawrence. I think the name on the jersey is different. I don't think their accuracy or skill level is much different. I really don't. Will Levis can ball. And by the way, Trevor Lawrence sometimes looks very average. So I was going to take Calvin Ridley thinking that, he's the only Titan receiver.
Yes.
I'll take a pretty good Kansas City. Give me the rookie because he can run routes like Tyreek Hill and he's fast. Give me Xavier Worthy.
Nice. That's a nice pick. Very nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of upside there. I don't need Zamir White in a team that can't block for Gardner Minshew. Now, I mean, this is where you're taking chances, right? I actually was in a draft the other day where Keon Coleman went in the 2nd round. I know sometimes people just lose their brother. Yeah. I laughed.
Yeah.
I just sat and laughed. I thought it was really funny.
Well, that's why you can prepare all you want. You're always going to have those guys that are wild cards that people are going to sprinkle in and scratch. You're sitting there scratching your head. You're like, why? Why did you pick him? I don't have an issue because my guy's going to drop 1 pick further then. But why are you picking somebody like that? I want to know, who are they listening to? Sleepers don't mean you pick your first 3-4 picks with it. Sleepers mean they're going to be good. You can pick them later on in the draft. That's why they're sleepers. Doesn't mean you hurry up and you nail them real quick.
This is a mistake I'm willing to take pretty much every time in a PPR league because this guy gets open. And if he gets open, getting open really helps your quarterback. It does. I don't really have to think really much. I can have 7-8 receptions in a PPR league and only get 60 yards and no touchdown, and it'd be a good Sunday.
Oh, absolutely.
And we talked about my wide receivers being of chance, right? I've got Mike Evans, Steady Eddie. George Pickens, man, I'm hoping. Xavier Worthy, we're going to find out. I'm going to take this guy because I think he's much closer to what Mike Evans will produce for me if the other guys start to flounder. I am going to take Deontay Johnson.
Nice.
And that's a great pick there. You guys are forgetting what he provides because he's in Carolina. Carolina's not good. I don't care.
A team doesn't have to be good to produce fantasy points.
They're going to be behind all the time. That's what I want.
And that's their number 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Real quick on, let's see. Let's get to his question real quick. I would like to know what your running back situation is, but with those picks that you gave me, 3 wide receivers I would start, very easy. CD, DK, and Devo. 2 flex players, I would have to go Goodwin and Worthy. Neighbors, I would keep on the bench for right now just because of Jones is the guy that's throwing them the ball.
Here's the way I would look at Neighbors. Just real quick. Odell Beckham had a fantastic season with Eli. Some of his best seasons were with Eli Manning.
Yes.
Not because Eli Manning throws a terribly accurate ball. In fact, he throws a terribly inaccurate ball, which is why Odell had the catch. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that Daniel Jones is very accurate either. But Neighbors is a circus freak. In fact, he catches balls. He catches balls that are just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And which is why he does a little bit better in that respect than Marvin Harrison Jr., which is why they drafted him. I think Neighbors has a lot of upside, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more than Worthy.
Well, the reason why I picked Worthy is because of the 2 reasons we talked about when you drafted him. Is 1, he takes the top off the defense, and what I mentioned before with Patrick Mahomes with his off-scripted plays. He extends the play. He'll hit him on the deep route, a crossing route, a little 5-yard out that he's running. Bam, take it to the house for 80 yards. The next thing you know. So I think that's why I take Worthy right now over Neighbors. Could
no,
that
I know,
switch
but
during the season, it could.
I think the Giants will be constantly chasing all year, and I think that Neighbors could end up with like 7 100-yard games, and you're like, wow. Maybe all losses, but I don't really care.
I think that offense is going to be very deprived of points, is what I think.
Of what?
Deprived of points. I don't think they're going to be scoring a lot this year.
Oh, I'm not saying touchdown, but I'm saying he could finish games with 8 receptions, 109 yards, and you're like, well, they lost.
Mm-hmm. No, he definitely could be. Definitely
13 to 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I could be way off with this Worthy thing. We don't know yet. But from everything I heard about Chiefs practice and from what I've seen in the preseason, he's definitely ready to rock.
Neighbors is going in the 5th round. Oh, I can't.
Yeah. Yep. So Zane, if you want to send over who your running backs are, that your flex position might change in my eyes. So that's what I got from the information you gave me. I am on the clock. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention. So we are going to go with this guy right here.
Who'd you take?
Trey Benson, who I think is going to end up being the running back by time the end of the year. Right now, we're not looking at starts right now. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm looking at depth. And if I can get Trey Benson to sprinkle in on a bye week when Gibbs and Walker's out, that's all right for me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't really care for Zach Moss that much because of Brown is there. There's a lot of rumblings in Bengals camp that Brown might overtake Zach Moss. Another guy I was thinking about possibly taking there instead of Trey Benson, it would have been where did he go? 2 players, Gus Edwards or Brian Robinson. I like Edwards because of touchdown. Robinson could end up doing well if Eckler kind of fades away a little bit. So, we'll see about that.
So I just want to say this real quick because you didn't say Devin Singletary.
Mm-hmm.
And, the team that was the most a mess last year, I know people think it was the Giants. It's not the Giants. The team that was the most a mess last year was the Arizona Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And yet James Conner, because of how he runs, found his way to fantasy value.
Mm.
And I think that, we're all thinking about that Saquon left. And at the end of the day, Devin Singletary walks around like Gardner Minshew. Mm-hmm. He's going to run hard, brother. He's going to really... He thinks he's that... By the way, the Giants drafted a rookie, already injured. They don't have a timetable for return. It's Devin Singletary's backfield. End of story. You're getting a starting running back in what? The 10th round.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just something to think about.
Now, what I did, I went with another wide receiver. I went with the guy that could have a lot of upside, Christian Watson from Green Bay. Right now, I'm looking for ceiling. We already got our guys that we know is going to start. We got our floor guys, the guys that we already know bare minimum, they're going to get me this amount of points. Now we're looking at guys that has a lot of ceiling, a guy that could just break out this year. Christian Watson could be one of those guys with love throwing the ball. He had a great year last year, so we'll see if he can do it again this year.
Yeah, I mean, do we need? You went quarterback already. There's quarterbacks off the table. I'm looking at quarterback here, but I don't really need one. Let me just drafted Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks might not play all year. I want to bring that up.
He's not going to be ready for the start of the season.
But he tore it. He didn't tear his ACL like early. He completely tore his ACL in November.
That's why he won't be available.
He won't be available until it needs a full year recovery. He won't be available until November. He won't be up and running until December. What are we drafting him for?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like it's Chuba Hubbard, ladies and gentlemen, in Carolina. I don't care what they say. They are wrong. They're fantasy liars. They're out there. Right?
And instead of taking him, you could have got somebody like we just talked about, Gus Edwards. Brian Robinson was there. Derrick Henry's gone from Tennessee. Spears is there. He can end up having a good year. He was a rookie last year, I believe. They sprinkled him in. He was very electric when they got him in there. So we'll see if he could build on this year from last year. That's another guy I would have took.
I'll take a starting running back in a real team that's on the upswing. And you mentioned him 4 times already.
Is going to be the starting running back for Cleveland until Chubb gets in there.
I'll take Brian Robinson. That dude runs like a monster.
You know? And you got a guy that I've talked about plenty of times in this offseason that Miami just drafted that they are loving. I know he's the 3rd running back, but if any of those guys get hurt, he's going to get a lot more carries, and that's Jalen Wright.
I don't love any of the wide receivers that are over here. Brian Thomas, it's fine if you believe that he's going to have a first-year breakout. Williams from Detroit has looked really good. I don't know how he fits in that offense, though. Honestly, I might trade him and try to get some value if I was the Lions because they have their whole team. Curtis Samuel, Romeo Doubs, Lockett, Shakir, Donnie Mitchell. I mean, there's just a bunch of guys down here.
The 2 people I like probably the best would be Cortland Sutton. Bo Nix needs somebody to throw the ball to him, so throw the ball to. So I think he's going to get targets there. I do like. Where did I just see him? Did he go? No. Shakir,
no, but
Buffalo.
I'll tell you what, though.
Shakir came on strong last year, so I want to say that he's going to get some good targets. Here's the guy, Adonde Mitchell. He's a rookie this year for Indy. They're gonna put him in at the slot. He is a big, fast target for Richardson. So I'm gonna take.
I'm gonna take this guy. I have 30 seconds left. I know Jordan Love's there. I know Brock Purdy's there. I think Caleb Williams is really good.
Okay.
I like it. He's toying with defenses. I understand it's preseason. He's laughing at them. He knows how good. The dude knows. And when you're a guy at a certain level, you know. Caleb Williams is so talented. You know, I'm not saying he's Mahomes, but he can probably do half of the stuff he could. He's better than Patrick Mahomes when Mahomes entered the league. I want you guys to understand that. The talent level of Caleb Williams is far greater than Pat. Nobody thought about taking a Mitch Trubisky over a Caleb Williams. It was not thinkable. Caleb Williams is that good. And by the way, if he was only okay, think of his arsenal. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Duze, DeAndre Swift. I mean, what do you want? He's going to have a season.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I did like I like Love over him. I like Purdy. I like Aaron Rodgers over him. I did like Caleb Williams more than Tua, just for the fact as soon as you get the cold weather, I'm not sold on that Miami team.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers can play anymore.
Yeah, see, I want to say he can. So, I mean, I understand. That's one of them. You take Aaron Rodgers now. You take maybe Kirk Cousins later on.
But my
Baker
rule,
Mayfield later on.
that's right. Caleb Williams fits my rule.
You know?
I can go Caleb Williams in this round, wait a few more rounds, and then take Baker Mayfield, except you're going to steal him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are you?
No, I'm not taking him. No.
Of course.
No, what I'm doing now is I'm looking for depth on my team. I have 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers.
Pigskin Punisher believes in Aaron Rodgers too. He drafted him. He also likes Jalen Warren. I like Jalen Warren. I guess that
I like
late.
Aaron Warren also. Mm-hmm.
Jalen's gonna miss some time though.
Yeah, but when he's healthy, he's going to be good in there.
But his running backs are Kyron Williams, Rashad White. You're right.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take somebody who I think is going to get a lot of targets. And with Bo Nix throwing the ball, I believe Courtland Sutton's going to be their number 1. So he's going to get targets. So that is who I am going to draft with this pick. After that, it's really easy. I'm looking for a guy that I could fill in for a bye week. And this is somebody that Jack has been banging the drum for since he's been traded to the Chargers. And since he's I mean,
Every time.
In the 12th round, you really can't go wrong with this
Do me a
guy.
favor and don't listen to me anymore. Gus Edwards, I knew it.
Gus Edwards, yeah. I mean, he might not get you the yards, but he's going to get you those touchdowns.
All right, on the clock, Pigskin Punisher. Oh man, watch him snipe me too. You guys listen to me too much. I'm probably gonna be wrong about everything. Take Rico Dowdle. I think he's gonna be leading the backfield in Dallas. You're on the clock, Pigskin Punisher. Once Bijan Robinson goes down, Tyler Algier is going to be the number 1 running back in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Trying to get you guys to bite on.
Guys, and also when you're drafting, use your queue area. Just to queue up some players. Have an idea of what you're going to do with your picks, 5-6 picks down the road. Kind of know where you're going. If you look at the way I'm drafting, I try to keep my queue area at least 3 to 6 people in there.
Romeo, where far out though? Romeo Dobbs he took. All right, I'm on the clock. Minute 40. Really nervous here.
That's not a bad pick. It's just they're so deep at wide receiver there. I would have rather somebody maybe like Tyler Lockett or Shakir Mitchell I mentioned before.
All right, so Pigskin, we talked about earlier about the running back situation in Cincinnati in that spot. I know that you got Jalen Warren, but he's a little banged up. If Chase Brown hits, he's the guy in Cincinnati. I would have taken Cincinnati there 100. I would have taken Chase Brown there, no questions asked, because I was targeting him and you had him. That's who I would have taken. Like, let's not beat around the bush. That's who we're taking.
Yep.
There. Okay. Wide receiver.
Yep.
Curtis Samuel, Tyler Lock, boo. Donnie Mitchell, Jacoby Myers, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, there's not much here.
There's not much there at all. You got some solid players there. Nobody that I would want to sit there and have my fantasy team rely on. But you got 4 or 5 guys there that you could bring in as a spot duty for a guy that's if one of your guys is on a bye. Curtis Samuel, we'll see how he does in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. Tyler Lockett has been solid throughout his whole career. Shakir, we already talked about him. Mitchell, we talked about him. Those are 2 guys that you can get right now that you get spot fill.
I'm going to take the starting running back in Carolina.
Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard. That's what he is. He's a starting running back in Carolina. He's going to be there a lot longer than you guys think. And he runs hard, and Canales likes guys that work hard. And that's Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
maybe not the flashiest. Tyler Lockett, Jerome Ford. I'm going to tell you, I have to say this. Everybody's really high on Jerome Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a starter in Cleveland. I don't think he's a starter in Cleveland very long. I don't. I think I think Nick Chubb's coming back really quick. Week 2, week 3 quick.
Wow.
He's
That quick?
Dude,
Like, he messed that knee up.
But the reports were that he needed surgery and he needed this, and he got the double surgery done pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
He's back to squatting 565. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak athlete. That's it. End of story. And if you believe that he's a freak athlete, then he's coming back. And Nick Chubb does not. There's a guy, I talked to this police officer from Cleveland a couple weeks ago. He goes, "Hey, do you like Nick Chubb?" Because I told him I liked Baker Mayfield. I was like, I really do like Nick Chubb. He goes, "We love Nick Chubb."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, Nick Chubb? I goes, "I'm friends with the guy who's Nick Chubb's neighbor. He doesn't even know Nick Chubb is home ever. He's quiet. He says nothing.
Yeah.
He does nothing. He just works out. And he's this quiet, reserved little running back. And when he comes back, he will get comeback player of the year."
Okay.
I mean, that's no BS there. Let's see. I got 21 seconds on the clock. I've done a lot of talking here. You know what? If Anthony Richardson pans out, I think it's going to be with this guy who's a real freak of nature, and that's Adonai Mitchell. I'll take him.
I agree. I mean, he's such a freak that if Richardson does end up having a really good season, he's going to be a big part.
Xavier Worthy's speed overshadowed him, but this guy's got Dez Bryant, George Pickens written all over him, right?
Mitchell has speed too. Mitchell is a 4.3 guy.
I know, but I'm saying
but taller.
He's got Pickens, Dez Bryant, wingspan, Brandon Marshall. That's who George Pickens reminds me of a lot of too, by the way. Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
That attitude, he'll beat the hell out of you. That's why it's hard for me to stay away from him, I like drafting guys who got a problem. I do. Every time. Blake Corum, Pat Fryer, Justin Herbert.
Okay, so now what we're looking at is that we got 3 picks left in the draft. So then while 2 of those picks we already know, we need to go with the defense and we need to go with the kick. So who do we want to draft depth-wise? What position? We got 4 running backs, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers. We could go quarterback or we could go tight end.
You're not going to do that. We know who you're drafting, Greg.
With the tight ends that are out there, there's one guy that is really standing out, and especially with Caleb Williams throwing him the ball. And that's Clement. I like him. And I can't believe he actually fell. I like Bierman, guy from Pittsburgh, a little bit more. I had him ranked slightly ahead of Clement. But yeah, I mean, Clement and my third to the last pick for depth, you can't hate that.
Now
we're coming right back. Now we come back to right around to where I wanted to be. We are going to go with my team. And I think they are going to have a top 3 defense this year. And that's my 9.
Always drafting your team.
Yeah. Well, when they're good, they're good,
Pigskin Punisher drafted. Listen, I know he's a great. I don't think I could draft Brandon Aubrey based on his name. Listen, he's a great kicker. I'll tell you what, Brandon Aubrey's probably the best kicker in the league now. It's not Justin Tucker anymore. So, I understand that you guys love Tucker, love Buckner. It's Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah.
He can kick a legit 72-yard field goal. And it's not a joke. Mm-hmm. This dude was stupid before he joined the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's another level. He's one of them. Like, he was perfect last year, I believe, right?
Yeah, and he's that good too. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So I got choices in defenses. I got choices in kickers. I got Jake Moody. Yep. He's not even good. Kyle Fairbairn, Cade Dicker. I just wanted to say Moody wasn't good. Tyler Bass. You know what? I guess what? I don't really care what kicker I get. To be quite honest, I play the matchups. with my kicker. I don't, is it going to be Bates from Detroit or Pinheiro in Carolina because they could get the ball across the 50, but he's got to kick 6 field goals? I don't know. Right? But that's how I look at it. And I think that it's important to know that. I got a minute left on the clock. I'm going to take a serious look at defenses. The Jets are sitting there. The Cowboys are sitting there. The Browns are sitting there.
The Jets were my second-rated defense.
Yeah. And if I'm going to take them here, I think it's like everybody, Jake Elliott, Younghoe Koo is not better than a defense. He's not.
Yeah,
he's a great kicker. But you have to understand what to do here. The Ravens defense, fine. 49ers
the Browns defense is good too.
The 49ers defense should probably be a top 20 in the league. But I'll take the Jets. Top 3. I'm just showing you. You're just taking the shade. All right, I'm gonna take the Jets defense. They'll be good enough.
You can't go wrong. That's a nice one.
A sleeper defense, by the way, guys. I really like the Jets, or I really like the Bears defense. You have to understand, there was a beat reporter the other week, and he reported either Joe Burrow's really bad, or the Bears defense is really good because they just picked him off twice in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the Bears defense had to play with their backs up against the wall a lot last year, and a defense that has to do that galvanizes. They get better. Mm-hmm. And I just think that this Bears defense is going to be flying around. I'm telling you what, it's a great time to be a Bears fan because they poured money into the team. They actually believe that the coach did a good job with Fields. Mm-hmm. Just Fields wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Okay. My sleeper defense actually would be the Philadelphia Eagles. Really? I know they gave up a lot of points last year, and that had to do with their secondary. But if you look at their first 2 picks, it was corner and safety.
Greg, I like that you said that. Because I drafted the Bears defense in my other league and followed it up with the Eagles.
Seriously, I think they're going to have a bounce back year. They're missing Reddick, which hurts a little bit on the edge, but they've drafted great the last 2-3 years on that defensive line. So they're going to be all right this year. Their weakness last year was their secondary, and I think they addressed that pretty strongly in the draft.
So here we go, guys. Kicker, right? The kickers that I have left. I've got Cade Dicker. I've got Sanders from Miami. I mean, see, this is what you're left with. Both offenses are going to put up points. I got Fairbairn from Houston. And it all depends on what you think they're going to put up. I'll take the Houston kicker. Maybe the offense gets bored late in the game and they just kick a couple field goals. I'll take Fairbairn, and that's fine. But don't get... Aubrey is a separator. Justin Tucker used to be. Buckner will be fine. But please don't draft a kicker in the 8th round.
No.
Please don't.
What I like with my kicker, what I look for is if I can't get one at 1 and 2, is I'm looking for a guy that kicks in a dome. That's what I'm looking for. A guy that kicks in a dome where I don't have to worry about snow later on in the year or a torrential downpour or something like that. If I have a guy that can kick in a dome, he's probably going to be like a 95% almost automatic. So that's who I'm going.
Stay out of Cleveland. There's crosswinds and stuff like that. That happens. Stay out of Chicago. They'll probably go on 4th and 2. If you take a kicker in the 7th round, all you'll hear is this. That's what you're going to hear. And then it'll be a ton of laughter because everybody knows that either you're awful at this or you're hammered.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, so I am on the clock. So I can do one of 2 things. I can go with my gut, or I could take my own advice, what I just said, and take a kicker that is in a dome. And I don't. Where did he go?
It was your kicker in a dome. Oh, I see who it is.
A kicker. Yeah. I'm just trying to see here if I could find him.
He's a little bit down there, I think. If it's the guy I think you're looking for.
No, I'm not going to take my own advice just because I want this guy. And he used to be a guy that would get you a lot of points because of the long kicks that he did, stuff like that. But I think he's going to be pretty good with the Jets, and I know he's pretty far down on there. But this is a last pick of the draft. It's a kicker. I'm going with my gut instead of my head. And we are going to go with Greg the Leg.
Yeah, sirloin's good. Yeah, I took him in.
yeah.
I took him in a couple of my drafts, just because. Actually, I think he's gonna be great week 1. You're not gonna like to hear this. I think the Jets squeak by the 49ers, but he kicks probably 3 field goals.
Okay.
That's one of my week 1 upsets. It has nothing to do with San Francisco. I think actually the week 1 loss is good for San Francisco long term.
I think we win that one. We've always seemed to have Aaron Rodgers' number, so I'm not really too worried about that game.
All right, well that is our mock draft. We want to thank John Barbario, Pigskin Punisher, for hanging out with us. It was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about myself. I actually did. No, with all these drafts. No, because here's what I learned. Because a lot of times I'll take the safe picks. And I learned that there are some picks that I'm going to deviate from. Right? I've been struggling in the 4th to 6th round. Hey, thanks so much, John. Appreciate you, man. Good luck in your draft this year. If you have any questions, just message our channel. We'll help you out. I have articles constantly coming out on fantasyfarmsports.com. So if you want me to cover a specific topic, I could do that for you. Good luck in your draft, man. So I took Saquon Barkley, followed by Devon A-Chain, and then James Cook. And, you know, even if some of those picks don't pan out, I thought it was smart to take Joe Mixon where I did. And wait on George Pickens. I don't know if I'll be able to wait on George Pickens. But
that right there depends. Now, do I value George Pickens more than I do James Cook?
Yeah, I'm starting to get to the point where, like, how is Russell Wilson going to move the ball? It's going to have to be Pickens. And I understand that there's other ways to get it done, but Russell's been the kind of guy where he's like, George Pickens could be his DK Metcalf. And I think George Pickens, not that he's more athletic or gifted than DK Metcalf, but he's got to have a prove-it season.
He has to have a prove-it season, and he's not as much of a head case. We're all finding out that DK Metcalf is a bit of a head case. He actually uses helmet again as a weapon in practice. This is the second time. It's like he needs to learn to control his anger. There was a game during the regular season last year against the Niners that he pretty much, I don't want to say he cost them the game, but they were right there. And then a key drive of theirs, he had a boneheaded move. One of our guys pushed him in the back. He turned around and he swung at him. You know, like you can't do that. Like, especially if you're against a smart team, they're going to know you're a head case and they're going to poke the bear. They're going to keep poking the bear until they get you on a 15-yard penalty, until they get you on 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and you're booted from the game. So
you know what reminds me of a little bit?
Watch guys like that.
He reminds me a little bit of a guy from another sport. He reminds me a little bit just because he's just a freak. He reminds me of Dennis Rodman. And I don't, he just kind of does. And he's this just outlier. Like, for how big he is, he shouldn't be able to run track like he does. He shouldn't be as strong as he is. Like, he's just all these things. He shouldn't be able to be as agile. He's all of it.
He's off the charts athletically.
He is. And again, I don't think that George Pickens is him, but there was a year where I thought, and I'm starting to feel it again, and it's a gut pick, okay? And I know that I'm supposed to stay away, but there was a year for which Brandon Marshall went down to play for the Dolphins, right? And he's barking the whole time. I mean, he's telling people how good. He was with I forget who the quarterback was from Michigan. but he was with a pretty decent quarterback. At least Chad Henne. That's who it was.
Okay.
He was with Chad Henne, and I just thought that Chad Henne was capable enough to get him the ball. And there were 2-on-1s that you could just tell that Marshall went, Chad, I'll kill you if I come back here and you don't throw me the ball. And I watched him catch a ball. I was actually in New Jersey at the time. I was at a Jets bar. It was cool. They had the fireman guy there and everything. It was, I don't know who paid for it, but it was fun. He's going crazy. And I watched Brandon Marshall go up, catch the ball with one hand, and stiff arm the guy into the ground with the second hand. And I went, I should have drafted him this year. And it was just stuff that happened like that all year. You're like, Jesus, man. Like, I'll tell you what, if Henne doesn't, and Henne threw him the ball all year. And he really had a great season, and it was a resurgence for Brandon Marshall. And I just think that, out of the two guys that Pickens reminds me of, he reminds me of Dez Bryant. He reminds me of Brandon Marshall. And I gotta just be able to pull the trigger. And I don't know where, I don't know where he's going to fall or where he's going to lie, but I can't take him in the third.
No. If he had somebody, a really good quarterback throwing him the ball, all right, I could see it because he is the number one. He is going to get the targets, but you don't know what you're getting with Russell Wilson. You don't know what you're getting with Fields, I'll
tell you what.
I mean, they can't be as a bad quarterback play as what's his name was last year. So,
I think I'll be getting a guy that will walk into the huddle though and go, if somebody doesn't throw me something here. And Arthur Smith. So I watched the Steelers starters came out last night, and it really changed my mind a little bit. Right, Arthur Smith has drawn up plays for George Pickens. He threw him a screen ball to get him involved. Like, this is the stuff that you have to understand you have to do with your star players. Just get on player, because George Pickens been saying, I don't mind blocking. I'll block. But please throw me a pass to where I can get something done. And it was 2 plays later, he got him a ball again on like a 7 route. And it was a great route run. And Russell threw it right in the dime. And I'm like, if this is how we're going to feature this guy, George Pickens can take the ball 20 yards and be gone for 70. I mean, he's I know we love Dez Bryant, but there's no difference there. I mean, Ryan Clark was a a safety, right, for the Steelers, and he said, "Look, I'm telling you, I played
undrafted
this game."
Safety. Undrafted.
He's like, I played this game. I understand talent. George Pickens is a freak. And he's like, I'm not being a homer, so please don't think that. And that was a couple years ago. And the more I look into his stats, let's say it goes from 61 receptions to 81, like every other star receiver. What's he going to give you? Another 300 yards and 5 touchdowns? You're not going to draft that. It's harder and harder for me to lay off of him at this point. And that's just me. I know that it's against my own advice, too, by the way.
I know you brought up Arthur Smith. That's one of the reasons why I like Warren this year, is because of who's the offensive coordinator now. I think Warren, once he's healthy, he's going to – we all know Najee's garbage. We all know. He's not good anymore. It hurts. I'm a Bama guy. It hurts. But he's not the guy. Warren is going to be the guy. He was explosive last year with that guy. What the hell was his name? Child's Kitchen? Whatever the hell his name was, the offensive coordinator. Canada. Yeah, I knew it was some weird freaking name. But anyways, he was garbage. And he still had a really good year. And Warren passes the eye test. When you watch him, you see the explosiveness coming from him. So it's a guy that I think with the right play caller in Arthur Smith, I think he's going to have a killer year. I really do. I'm looking at somewhere in the upper. I'm thinking like 60 receptions for maybe like 500 yards, a couple touchdowns, and probably like 900 yards rushing. Sprinkle in another 7-8 touchdowns in there. I think he's going to have that type of year. I really do, and only because of because of the explosiveness that he has, and because now he is a true play caller back there. He has a guy that will that will draw up plays, not just for Pickens, but for him too.
So I wondered though, because before Arthur Smith got the job in Atlanta, he was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee had a guy that really looked like Najee Harris, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he kind of believes that if he runs the same Derrick Henry scheme, he can get the same or Derrick Henry light production out of Najee Harris. And that's what I really believe. I think the move was to bring him and Najee up.
Okay. I think the Steelers liked Najee all the way up until last year. I think last year was kind of the final draw. It was just, it was like, dude, listen, we're getting you as many touches as we possibly can. And not only are you not doing anything, but you're part of the reason why we're losing. We're losing is because you can't get us a first down. He's not an in between the tackle runner. And the Steelers has a good offensive line. It's not like he's at Carolina and they have a garbage offensive line and they can't block those. They have a good offensive line.
Well, that kind of is to my point, right? So if you have a tall, great blocking running back, find him space, right? So if they find Najee Harris space, much like the Bucs found Rachaad White space, you can run Warren in between the tackles. I'm not sure who the more valuable player is. I know that Warren passes the eye test.
Yeah.
But, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, how am I going to, if I get Mike Evans and I don't get DJ Moore, because DJ Moore's going in the third, how can I find DJ Moore upside? It's going to have to be with, Pickens, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're pretty much, as far as fantasy value, I think they're the same player.
Because now Cooper Kupp's going higher, right? Cooper Kupp's going in the third.
Well, that's because he's finally healthy. Everything that's coming out of Rams camp is that he's healthy. Before he was in the beginning of this whole mock draft going back a month ago, he was going in like the 5th and 6th round because people were questioning his health. Is he coming back fully healthy? Because in mini camp, he wasn't there. But now through training camp, he's there. He's proving he's healthy, so he's climbing up that board again.
Yeah, and I've taken so my receivers in my other draft. I took DJ Moore in the third because it was what I had. It was basically what I had left, and then I took Cooper Kupp in the fourth.
You can't go wrong with that. You really
no.
Can't. And DJ Moore has so much ceiling, ceiling. He could easily be a top 5 wide receiver this year. He could be. That's his ceiling. Will he? I don't know. But he has the ceiling to be that.
So it's interesting you say that because last year he finished 6th.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
A quiet 6th too. That's a quiet 6th.
Well, right. He finished 6th, and it was mainly because of that big touchdown game that he had. I think he had 4 touchdowns on one Thursday night game. Okay.
All right.
But, here's my problem a little bit, right, with the whole comparisons, right? So, George Pickens finished 16th last year. Jamar Chase finished 12th.
Without Burrow.
Hold on.
That's huge.
But here's what I want to say. Without Burrow, correct. Didn't get to play with Burrow. But he had 7 touchdowns. The most he's had in a season is 10. He had 1,216 yards. That's still high, right?
And he missed a few games too.
Right. He still had 100 receptions with 145 targets. 12th. Here's your top 5 wide receiver finish. Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore. By the way, Ayuk is next. And I'm just sitting here going, we love DJ Moore. He never finishes where we draft him. Or we love Jamar Chase. He never finishes. He's never finished top 5. It's a little interesting. It's a little bit like Pickens. Right? Pickens is drafted in the 4th round. He never finishes in the top 10 like we expect from him. Jamar Chase is drafted in the first round. He finished wide receiver 12, and he had a damn good year. I mean, can that year get better with Burrow? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. But he proved that in his rookie season. His rookie season, when he had Burrow, he was lights out. Last year was his second year. This is his third year.
Well, he averages 20 less receptions. Obviously, Burrow puts him in better yards to gain position, right? Because that's when he can really explode.
And when Burrow's in trouble, he just threw the ball. He just threw it to Chase's vicinity, and he caught it. This stems back to you and I gone back and forth with this discussion. We like that, especially you like that, because you bring it up a lot. That quarterback wide receiver combo in college. Bringing it into the NFL. It showed with Burrow and Chase. It matters. They didn't skip a beat their Chase's rookie year.
Well,
and if they had an opportunity to add on to that last year, if Burrow was healthy, I want to say that Chase could have easily been the number one wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, he probably could have, and I had him ranked that high too because I thought Burrow was going to have that season. For all the talk that Mayfield couldn't support a number one wide receiver, I mean, 1,255 yards for Evans and 13 touchdowns. I think that goes to bed too. On 128 targets, he finished wide receiver 9. He was being drafted in the 5th and 6th rounds. So some guys are quarterback proof. DK Metcalf goes high. He's going to finish wide receiver 18 or 19 like he always does. Some guys.
A guy that we didn't talk about too much that in our mock draft here, he went, where did he go? He went in the 9th round, right? Is that right?
In our mock?
In our mock.
Okay.
Yeah, 9th round. And actually, I totally forgot about him until you just you jogged my memory. Hollywood Brown. Nobody is talking about him right now. What's your thoughts on him? I think he might have a really. I mean, we're talking about Worthy there, about Rashid Rice there, but Hollywood Brown. I mean, he had an all right career with no one throwing the ball at Arizona.
So who
now
do you like?
Patrick Mahomes.
Who do you like better? Do you like Hollywood Brown or DeAndre Hopkins better?
Hollywood Brown.
Because they're both going to miss 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I like Hollywood Brown
injured.
better.
But he's injured.
The only reason why I don't like the Hopkins is I'm still under the mindset is Tennessee is where wide receivers go to die. So I'm sorry.
I mean, what's interesting?
Prove me wrong.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
After week 7, Will Levis averaged the most air yards in the league per reception.
I could tell you, I had Hopkins last year, and he did about nothing for me. Where he got all his points was second half when they were down. He would get a touchdown here or there, but besides that, he did about nothing for me last year.
But that was when Will Levis took over the quarterback position. Will Levis, when he took over, he was good. When he wasn't in the, so Will Levis can really make. I mean, I'm telling, people don't think so. But Will Levis, Trevor Lawrence is being drafted really high. Will Levis is really good, and they paid for Calvin Ridley, and DeAndre Hopkins is there, and he's a little banged up. But this Tennessee Titans team is not just going to be walked over. They said the other day to Will Levis, they said, by the way, Penn State and Kentucky. And, they were like, well, you got Chicago week 1. The Bears look really good in preseason. What were your thoughts? He goes, we'll see. Like, I understand that, that they're not supposed to be good because Derrick Henry doesn't play for them anymore. They don't believe that. They think that they're moving on.
My problem isn't them losing Derrick Henry. My problem is them losing Verber, their coach.
Well, so they're getting Callahan, and they're
Mhm.
getting the old man, right? So Callahan's father is going to be offensive line coach, and he's going to be the head coach. And I think that if it didn't look like there was a plan at head coach, they would have kept Vrabel. This is the plan. And they obviously met and had meetings with Levis ahead of time. And I think he's a good player. I think he really wants to be good, which is important. Tom Brady said the other day that Will Levis reminded him a lot of himself. And that kind of blew me away, because Tom Brady isn't like anybody. He doesn't.
Yeah,
Tom
and I
Brady
don't
really
look
doesn't
at them
endorse.
as the same. Levitt has a lot stronger arm than Brady ever did. That was his hype coming out of college, was his arm strength.
But I think he's talking about work ethic.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's something different. Work ethic is different.
Because he looks at Levis and he's like, Jesus. He goes, man, you look jacked. He goes, I'm in the gym all the time. He goes, I'm on tape all the time. He goes, I'm trying to. They paid Ridley. Like, that's why Ridley going in. Like, Ridley last year, why he went in the second round because of Lawrence.
Yeah.
And that was the pairing. And he returned 6th round value. Now he's going in the 6th and 7th round, and people are going, oh, if you guys think that Will Levis is much different than Trevor Lawrence, you're nuts. I'm very sorry. I think you're crazy. You have to watch the games and not the name on the jersey. He can sling it. He makes the same mistakes, and he doesn't have a national title. Welcome to the league, Will Levis. I'm telling you. It's a guy I'm starting to really go, you know what? He doesn't care who you are, and he's going to play damn good football. And I'm telling you what, he's going to get you some rushing yards too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's a little reckless. He's a little reckless, and I think he's got a cannon, like you said.
I mean, I still like Lawrence a lot more than I like Willis, but that's my preference. I think a little bit higher of Lawrence than you do, but I can see your point.
I want to think higher of Lawrence than I do. I want there to be a bastion of quarterbacks, right, that can sit there and at any given day beat Patrick Mahomes. There aren't.
There's not too many out there that can beat Patrick Mahomes. I mean, even a team, they've had their worst team last year than they've had since Patrick Mahomes got there, and they still won the Super Bowl.
Josh Allen's a great athlete, but he does idiot things in big moments.
He is a turnover machine. If he didn't have those turnovers, the Bills would be almost unstoppable. Those turnovers kill them.
Trevor Lawrence is a very tall athlete, 6'6", I believe.
Yeah.
But the people look at, we play golf, right? And tall golfers have the ability to hit the ball longer.
Yeah.
They also have the most ability to make the mistakes with the club. Okay, because of how tall. There's a bigger
swing plane.
That's right. And the same goes with your quarterback mechanics. And Trevor Lawrence, when he gets hit or he gets a little out of sorts, his mechanics are awful.
Okay.
His mechanics don't belong in the league. He's athletic enough to get away with it, but there are times there are mistakes, and it's no good. Well, we got questions here?
Yeah, we got a question here. We got a double flex 10 team. Dak, Josh Jacobs, Zach Moss, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Brandon Ayuk, Zay Flowers.
Double flex. 2 flexes,
Yeah,
right?
so I'm guessing, 2 flexes, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, I'm guessing. So they have Dak as their quarterback. They have Josh Jacobs and Zach Moss as their running backs. I'm guessing Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams as their starting wide receivers.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce as their tight end, and Brandon Ayuk and Zay Flowers as their flexes.
That's a good.
That's a strong team.
I was like,
really
is it a team brag? Because it's a good brag.
It very, very. Because if you watched Jack and I's NFL preview, I think it was probably like 4 weeks ago. I talk about how high I am on Josh Jacobs this year with Green Bay. I think he's going to have an extreme bounce back year because he's not going to have to run against an 8-person box anymore. You know, if they
Yeah.
pass the ball and they have 4 good wide receivers at Green Bay, you add Josh Jacobs into that offense, he's gonna have a killer year.
Well, what's interesting is people go, well, when the quarterback gets good, they find him wide receiver talent. It's true.
Yeah.
And but what they also do is they want to be able to generate a guy that'll bring down the middle linebacker. Despite being good, you want a little bit extra help. And I think Josh Jacobs is one of the great finishers in the league.
Yeah.
When he finishes a run, he lands on top of you.
My friends just dumb, I guess.
Look at, man, I like guys that are in leagues that, they think differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't think silly.
No, and I'm not high on Zach Moss. Again, I think Brown's going to end up being the guy there. But, I mean, running back is one of those positions. There's always somebody you could pick up off the waivers that's going to start because of a running back that went down. So you'll be able to fill that guy in if Zach Moss isn't your guy. But I think Josh Jacobs is strong. I mean, you can't go wrong with your wide receivers that you have. Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams, come on. I mean, that's going to make up for at least any deficiency that you have in your running backs, period. Dave Flowers, Brandon Ayuk as your flex. You can't go wrong there. And Travis Kelce's still going to be a top 5 tight end in the league.
I do love Zay Flowers. I'm starting to like him a little bit more. He's not. It's probably Mark Andrews first there, right? Absolutely. That offense isn't a wide receiver first offense. It's a run first. Second, if you're going to pass, you're going to pass it to probably a 3 tight end set most of the time. And then thirdly is they get, Zach Moss and who was that other guy that they had there that did all right? Dave Flowers and Rashad Bateman.
That's it. Bateman.
And you know what? And so it wasn't last season. He became a little bit healthy towards the end of it. He had a really bad injury the year before.
Yeah.
But let's not forget how the season where he got injured started. Rashad Bateman started out the season like a cannon. It was like 3 touchdowns. I think he had 130 yards in the first game, 70 in the second game. I mean, Rashad Bateman was blowing the doors off safeties, and then he really hurt his leg.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why they drafted Rashad Bateman, too, because I think these contexts matter. Okay? Because you guys just look at things on the surface. We go underneath it, especially at fantasy farms, right? So
absolutely.
Lamar Jackson doesn't throw a wide receiver friendly ball.
No, we all know.
Athletic, throws a good ball. It's not all friendly all the time. Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota caught the most in college football off-target passes in weather on top of it out of all of FBS. Ball behind him, ball this way, ball. He caught everything. That's why Baltimore drafted him so high.
And last year, after Bateman did get hurt, Zay Flowers picked up that mantle, took that baton and ran with it. He was very, very good at off-script plays.
I just, Bateman's being really discounted. And I just kind of think to myself, by the way, Harbaugh talked about Bateman. They said, what do you think about Rashad Bateman this year? Do you still have faith in him? He goes, he's going to have a real role in this offense. I went, you know what? He is.
I just think people forgot about him. Like you said, he got hurt early last year, and I think people just forgot about him.
Yeah.
We got, Ethan has let's see. Also, my RB running backs aren't strong. Who are you strong on here is all I have. Josh Jacobs, Zach Moss, Spears, Devin Singletary, and Hawkinson is on the IR. Hawkinson is very nice. He's going to be he is a top tight end when he's healthy, but he got hurt. When is he due back? I don't even know.
He got really hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt pretty good. Yeah, and later on in the season too.
Maybe so I'm not expecting. They were talking.
Wow, that would be a shame. That would be a shame. You're right. Your running backs aren't the strongest, but you do have. He's saying out for 6 weeks. So yeah. So
All right, so here's what I
running
love.
back wise, I do like Josh Jacobs, and I like Spears more than I like Moss and Dove Singletary. So me personally, I'd be starting Josh Jacobs and Spears from Tennessee.
And I'm a little different there. So I would be starting Josh Jacobs and Devin Singletary because they're two starting running backs. I don't know what Spears' workload's going to look like. And I look at Brian Dable wants to run the ball. So what's Singletary's floor? 18 carries, 76 yards, no touchdowns. I'm okay with that because that might be more than Spears even gets. Remember, Titans paid Pollard. And Pollard,
yeah, but I don't. But they had they had Henry there last year, Derrick Henry, and Spears still got some points. He still got carries. That's how explosive he is. When they drafted him last year, that's all they talked about was how explosive this kid is.
I get that, but you know what Pollard talked about? I was actually watching Matthew Berry's show earlier, and I don't mind giving credence out to guys that, give you some information. And apparently Tony Pollard said that after his broken leg injury, he didn't feel the same until the end of last season.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what do you mean? He goes, sometimes when you injure something on the x-rays, everything looks clean, but you just don't feel the pop you just don't feel like you were. And at the end, it's really interesting that he said this because at the end of last season, as Matthew Berry was saying, he said that Pollard had one of the most broken tackle highest metrics. Like he was back. And I just think to myself, well, if it's supposed to be a 2nd and 4, 20 yards or whatever, or 2nd and 4, and you're 20 yards out from the touchdown, that's where Pollard used to break them and score. Spears might not see the goal line field. And it's just a hypothetical, but Singletary is the only running back the Giants currently have.
True.
It's a truth.
Yeah.
By the way, he's wearing Saquon's old number. I mean, there's shade everywhere. He put 26 on. I'm not joking. Singletary does not matter. He does not, or Singletary does not care.
Yeah.
Not care.
Moss is also the running back one, but Bengals are going to throw it. They're going to throw it, and Jack and I have been talking a lot about this, about the whole Zach Moss situation. There's a lot of rumors coming out of Bengals camp about Brown. Brown, I think, is going to be the guy. That or they're going to have basically half and half. One's going to get 5 carries, the other one's going to get 5 carries. I mean, not quite that low, but you know what I mean. Their workload is going to be split right down the middle.
My whole thing is that, Moss isn't necessarily the greatest pass catching back or whatever. He doesn't have the speed and the burst. The first running back that allows Burrow to get hit because they missed a block will not see the field for 3 weeks.
I agree 100%.
Because he's going to look.
You better be able to pass protect.
I understand all these people that are chirping about Bucky Brooks in Tampa Bay. He's not going to be the one in the backfield blocking for Baker Mayfield.
No.
Leonard Fournette made the field because he dropped a linebacker right in front of Tom Brady when Tom went, oh, this is fantastic. Oh, I don't care what you do otherwise. You're going to drop that linebacker every time? No, because it's a real thing. I need the extra time. I need a bulldozer. And Chase Brown is not a bulldozer. And Zach Moss has the tendency sometimes to get a little sleepy on the field.
Yeah.
So if he gets lazy.
Has there been a more disappointing running back that went from college to the NFL than who do we just say?
Then Leonard Fournette?
Yeah, Leonard Fournette.
Oh,
LSU, I mean, he was called, he went number 2 overall or number 3 overall. He was a generational talent, they said.
Can I give you one? And everybody's going to be mad at me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you one of the biggest college football disappointments to hit the NFL.
I'm talking running back. I'm talking running. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Talking running back. Ready? Bo Jackson. Done.
No, because he had a flash. He did something else.
Did Bo Jackson have a 1,000-yard season in the NFL?
No.
Okay. He was supposed to be Tony Dorsett. He was supposed to be he was with Earl Campbell. He played 2 years and got injury, but that's still a disappointment. Leonard Fournette had 1,000-yard seasons behind a line that was embarrassing. Oh, and by the way, won a Super Bowl and was a big part of the team.
I don't want to say he was a big part of it. They brought him in mid-season. They brought him in. He did. He had a few carries there, but he wasn't. No, that team was moving along even before him. Yeah.
Tampa, he played there a full year.
He was brought in the mid-season.
No, Tampa, he played there a full year.
A year and a half then.
Yeah,
they brought him in half. Okay, I was gonna say they brought him in halfway through the season. I remember.
But I'm saying like
I remember when actually the Jags didn't trade him; they released him.
Yeah, and the Jags were wrong.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, if the Niners pick him up,
yeah, and so
I wanted to. Leonard Fournette he might have not been the most disappointing. Maybe second most disappointing in my eyes.
I mean,
forgot
it's Bo
about
Jackson to me.
Trent Richardson. I totally forgot about Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson counts.
He had one good year, and then nothing. Nothing.
You know,
for a guy that had the talent coming into the league, what he did at Alabama, it was ridiculous, and he just couldn't produce it in the NFL for some reason.
Well, and that's Bo Jackson out of Auburn. I mean, he just and then the highlights that he had were phenomenal, but I mean, let's be honest, it's disappointing.
Gotcha.
People think that it was way longer than it was, but it was.
No, I knew he had a very short career, very short.
He was a shooting star,
but great.
Oh yeah, shooting star, but then
short but great. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
You have to remember back when Bo played, I believe they were still at what were they at? 14 games still, or were they at 16 at that point? I can't remember.
They might have been at 16 at that point.
Yeah, they might have been at 16 at that point. I know in the 80s is when they went to 16 at some point.
But I mean, for me, people talk about Bo Jackson, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in one record book. Really?
The reason why they say Bo is because of the athlete that he was, the hype that came along with him, and what we seen when he was healthy, it was unreal. And it was a very flash in the pan. He was a flash. He came in like a storm in the league, and he was gone because of one injury.
That's right.
So crazy injury, but short.
So for me, he's a shooting star that never really, made it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get on message boards all the time, and Bo Jackson wasn't a bust. I'm like, what do you mean? They didn't draft him for 2 seasons.
Mm.
He was never a 1,000-yard back. What do you consider to be a bust?
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I've seen all the stuff. He's a top 5 athlete that the planet has ever seen.
Oh yeah, but also back then, if you rushed for 1,000 yards, you were a top back in the league. There was no rushing for 1,600 yards. If you got 1,000, 1,100 yards, like you were a stud back then.
Yeah, no, I agree. But unfortunately, it just didn't. It just didn't materialize all the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And in the same regard, a running back that probably surprised us that shouldn't have done as well as he did in his career. For me, I'm gonna go with Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
He was dead in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Nothing. It was no juice, no nothing. He was sent away to Seattle because he wasn't good, and then all of a sudden, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And now, to me, Marshawn Lynch, he could be. I think he's probably top 10 all time.
Which is crazy because they drafted him in early in the first round. He was a stud coming out of Cal. Like he could do everything. He could catch the ball. He was fast. He was powerful. He was like an all-around stud back. Like people were drooling for a chance to get to him.
Yeah,
drooling. And you're right. He didn't work out for Buffalo for some reason. He just didn't. And then he gets down to Seattle with Pete Carroll and stuff. And, they made history down there.
I mean,
I
it.
don't know if
Listen,
you're caught up on that or not, unfortunately, Bart. but-
listen. It helps. It helps to be able to communicate with people, right? Otherwise,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you can either get the most out of them or they can shut down, and it's sometimes it's your choice and sometimes it's theirs. You don't really necessarily know which way it's going to work, but you know, having the right opportunity is what helps you.
That and some coaches are just so old in their thinking that it's my way or no way. You guys have to listen to this. You guys have to do this instead of, yeah. Pete Carroll was older, but he was a player's coach. He knew what Marshawn Lynch needed to hear to get him to play the best. He knew how to treat Marshawn Lynch. He just didn't treat him. I don't want to say. I want to say early in his career, he knew how to treat him. Later on in his career, I think Pete Carroll got it in his head. It's me, it's me, it's me, and I'm going to show you guys it's me and Wilson. We're not going to give it to Marshawn Lynch. But I think early in Pete's career, early in his coaching career with Seattle, he was latched on with Lynch. They were a good combo together. He knew how to speak to Lynch. He knew how to get the greatness out of him.
His whole Pete Carroll's whole mantra for that team, right? The Legion of Boom, all that stuff was, guys, they're disrespecting us.
Mm-hmm.
Go disrespect them.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I want you to drop them every single time. You know that Super Bowl that they won? He goes, yeah, it's Peyton Manning out there. Go disrespect him.
Yeah.
Go. I mean, no one talks about that. Peyton Manning might be in your guys' top 5 all-time quarterbacks, and for me, he's on the back end because I can't forget that Super Bowl. I mean, and you shouldn't either. Peyton Manning got, and by the way, that was Peyton Manning's 50 touchdown year, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't Peyton Manning that wasn't good anymore. This was a Peyton Manning who picked apart and figured out defenses, and they absolutely walloped him. I mean, just getting spanked that way in the biggest game ever.
Seattle had one of the best defenses. I mean, they had a run without Legion of Boom. They had a run, one of the all-time best defenses.
Yeah, but to get beat like that, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you're a pass-oriented team and you're not balanced. Is you go against a team that can thump you, a team that could press you at the line. You're not going to get the free releases. You're not going to get those timing routes. That's going to screw your offense up. That's why you need a strong running game too to go with your passing.
Kerry Collins played better for the New York Giants against that Baltimore Ravens vaunted defense. This is a fact. He played better than your Peyton Manning in a Super Bowl with the Giants against Trent Dilfer and that wonderful Ravens defense. He played better than Peyton Manning against Legion of Boom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, those are things that I look at. You got anything else? I mean, you want to keep going? I'll talk. I don't care.
Oh, well, we can keep talking. I don't mind.
So I've got 2 drafts. I got 2 drafts coming up. You're in both of them, actually. So
Yeah. Yep.
I don't want to give you any advice, but
Yeah, see, that's what's tough with me and you. How much, even before, like Jack moved to Florida, so we don't talk as much as we used to. But like me and Jack, we used to golf together. We worked together. So like we used to talk a lot about sports. So when we're in the same league together, it's kind of tough because we know what each other's thinking. So if our picks are right around each other, it's like, well, do I try? I want this guy. I know Jack really wants him, but I really like this guy. You know what? Let's go with the pick that I like, and I know that's going to screw him.
I mean,
what do you mean?
So in our league of record, where are you positioned? Are you positioned?
I'm 9th and like 10th. I'm way.
Okay,
I'm
yes.
back end of the draft in both.
So 9th, and by the way, I don't have any. I literally because there's no way on Sleeper to record video and put it into the chat. There's no way to do it. So I was like, well, I can't do my Facebook thing because I can't put it into the chat. These people don't know me, but it is what it is, right? So I just hit randomized order and it randomized it. And I think what the algorithms did was take a look at each team and see who your keeper could be. My keeper's AJ Brown.
Yeah.
I didn't have a great team. Big deal.
Yeah.
And I only say that because our friend Mickey, who's the 10th pick,
Okay.
had the option to keep Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Patrick Mahomes. So I think the algorithm kind of looked at it and went, well, you got a lot of options here, pal. You're going to have to pick one and then do a double and do your back-to-back here.
Mm-hmm.
But, having second and third pick in these drafts, I don't prepare.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like second or third. I don't like second or third, and I don't like 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, because you're in that middle area where you should be
taking. I don't
taking.
like middle area.
I don't like middle area, but I don't like waiting 20 picks.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that the top tier is that much better anymore.
See, I do. I think that the first 3 picks are, if you can get one of them, that's great. Anything past that, anything from 4 to, say, it's a 12-man league. Anything from 4 to 8 or 9 is very comparable with each other.
Yeah.
Whether it's your wide receivers, your running backs. The only reason why, like later on, if I don't have one of the first 3 picks, is because you get that almost back-to-back pick. If you don't get back-to-back with the last pick, and then you're within 3 or 4 picks of getting another pick. So that's why I like later on in the draft, because you can fill 2 positions like that, quick, very quick. Or load up quick on one.
I've been thinking, I've got, so I could tell you I'm absolutely positive, not absolutely positive, but pretty positive. Christian McCaffrey's going first in our draft, league of record.
Yeah,
I think he's going first. Mm-hmm. So then I'm gonna have the choice between Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, or Saquon Barkley, because I really have and I know there are some people that don't have Saquon Barkley rated as high as I do.
Yeah, if you watch a lot of these fantasy football shows, they have a Saquon Barkley going in the 3rd round.
But
That's crazy in my eyes.
So it's really funny because the Stefania Bell from ESPN, she won the league last year, by the way. Mm-hmm. And ESPN only does 10-man. They're bums.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, we have a 10-man too, but we try to do 12.
Yeah. Yep.
So she took Saquon in a 10-man at the 10th spot. Mm-hmm. And, Gibbs was still on the table. A couple of these other ATN was still on. A lot of these guys were on the table. And she's like, I really think that Saquon's going to have one of those years. Because, obviously his ties to Philadelphia and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, in a 12-man league, that's the 8th pick.
Yeah.
And there's not much of a difference between the 8th pick and the 2nd pick. Mm-hmm. A couple picks. So I'm like, do I want Saquon in that offense? It's the offense that you got to love.
Absolutely.
And
they have 3 stud wide receivers. They have a good tight end. They have a good offensive line. They have a quarterback that likes to run the ball. So, Saquon's going to have a killer year.
I had somebody telling me the other day in this chat that Kellen Moore doesn't dump off to the running back. And I thought,
we've seen him do it with Pollard for 2 years in a row.
What does Austin Eckler do?
Yeah.
And if you think Jalen Hurts is going to have an offense set up for him to run like he has been, that day is over.
Yeah.
I think he will run if he needs to. Mm-hmm. But these designed runs, for how his legs kind of get beat up towards the end, it's over. Mm-hmm. The designed runs are over. That's all Moore does. John Barbera is in the chat. That's all Moore does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he likes to dump off to the running back. And by the way, it helps having a mobile quarterback invite them in. I think that Jalen Hurts' rushing yards is coming down by 200 yards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I could see it, but I believe his passing yards are going to go up, though.
Right. Let's turn the kid loose now. Mm-hmm. Let's get him up to 31 touchdowns. Hey, listen, if we could design something on the 3-yard line to where, he fake pitches it to Barkley and runs in, doesn't take any damage, let's do that. But by the way, I said this earlier about the Eagles. 9-2 with a healthy quarterback is much better than 11-0, and everybody knows he's limping.
Yeah, absolutely. And I talked about this before with Hurts and Barkley being in the backfield at the same time. Is what that zone read that holds the linebackers for a split second. And if you guys watch Barkley run, that's all that guy needs. He just needs that split second of that linebacker thinking, oh, does the quarterback have it or does he have it? And Barkley's gone.
DeAndre Swift finished running back 8 last year.
Yeah.
In Philly. And didn't get near the carries that Barkley got. Barkley finished with 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns on a Giants team that featured the Pizza Guys kid. Tommy Cutlets, right? Hey, they featured him. And then when he got injured, they brought what's his name? They brought Tyrod Taylor out of retirement. I'm not No, how do you get 10 touchdowns there? I just don't know how you get it. Kellen Moore offense was very vanilla in Dallas. Yeah.
Very.
He had to dumb down the playbook for Dak.
Because the rumors said Moore had to dumb down the playbook for Dak. Were true. I don't know. But he was a dink.
Ron's a Dallas guy, so he would know.
Yeah. Listen, I get it. I've never been high on Keelan Moore as a offensive coordinator. I didn't like him in Dallas, and I didn't like him in at San Diego either. So, I mean,
but I like him for fantasy. I like him for fantasy. I know what he does.
I don't know if I do.
Eckler didn't suffer.
I believe that about Dak, though. About he had to dumb down the playbook for Dak. That I believe.
He didn't suffer. I don't think that Austin Eckler suffered. He finished.
No, because like I said, he does dink and dunk the ball. You guys are definitely right. John is definitely right in his assumption with Keelan Moore. My point is, I don't think Keelan Moore is a good offensive coordinator.
Oh, I mean, he's got all the weapons. We're gonna find out.
He had weapons in San Diego too. What was their record? What'd they do? Nothing.
Well, they weren't coached very well either.
Listen, I'm just saying. Everywhere he's been the offensive coordinator, they have not won any.
And he also takes offense. The other thing about Kellen Moore that's interesting too, and I think it is at least, Kellen Moore takes the offensive coordinator jobs where the head coach is a lame duck.
Mm-hmm.
Like he went to the Chargers to get that job when the guy was fired.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Dallas to get the job when the guy was fired.
Yeah.
Keelan
Moore was a career backup who got maybe 2 or 3 shots to be a starter in the league, and he blew every one of them. So,
but it is interesting that he's now in Philadelphia, and there's been chirps about Sirianni. I'm just saying, he's really been sitting there the whole time, going, "Hey, if you don't like that guy, what if you like me?"
Hey, yeah, no, I get it. They'd be stupid. Sirianni's a good coach. Oh. He really is. I mean, say what you want about the implosion that they had last year at the end of the season. He's still a solid coach. He's still a good coach.
Yeah, he's got to find a way to make his relationship with Jalen Hurts work.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that because they're attached at the hip.
Yeah, they said last year that it became so bad that they wouldn't even be in the same room together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think it has a lot to do with the way the offense was called too, which I think sucks for Sirianni. Because this offense was different than the previous year's offense, and the fact that more down the field throws were called with this, where Hurts had to hold on to the ball long. If you look at the previous year, he had a lot of quick throws, which he was way better. And that isn't that's not the way it was last year. And I think that rub on Hurts the wrong way sometimes. He's like, listen, you're the coach. Like, have this offensive coordinator kind of start calling plays like we did last year. Let's do a little bit of what we did last year.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. What he did was he sat there and he went, you know what? He went to actually Sirianni, and he said, look we're starting to get hit. The O-line starting to get a little tired. We're late in the season.
Yeah.
I think we need to shift to quicker passes. Let's move AJ inside instead of outside, start running slants to him, let him use his legs.
Yeah.
And Sirianni said, I'll take a look at it. And he implemented nothing, not even one idea. And Hurts at that point, and Hurts got hit that game. And I think it was the San Francisco game, if I'm not mistaken. He got absolutely labeled. And he went, boy, if I could have just thrown a slant there, I'd be okay. And, you start looking around going, you know what, man, if I'm not going to be listened to and I'm not going to have a part in this offense, I'll show up to the meetings. And that's all you're going to get out of me. And, if Sirianni doesn't fix it this year, I'll tell you what, Philly loses 4 in a row. He's gone. He'll be out of the building.
Do you think Sirianni didn't do anything because, one, he's a newer coach and he didn't want to step on the offensive coordinator's toes?
I think, unfortunately, when I think things go poorly for people, I always say, you know what? Unfortunately, he was being himself.
Okay.
I think Sirianni's a little snarky. I think he...
Oh, not a little. He is snarky. You see it in his press conferences. He's very snarky.
Right. And I unfortunately think that when the going got tough, he became more himself.
Okay.
Some people talk about when people drink, they become more like themselves. He became drunk with power. Instead of working through it and listening to everybody else, he had all the answers.
He's like,
and
listen, I'm the guy
that
won the Super Bowl. I brought a Super Bowl to Philly, blah, blah, blah.
Fake cried on TV, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was cringy. My point is that if they lose 3 in a row, those newspapers in Philadelphia are going to have no other recourse but to be honest. And if they lose the 4th, he's going to try his keys in the morning. They're not going to work. No, they're not, because Kellen Moore is going to take over the team, and Jalen Hurts is going to walk right over to, because right now what they said is the relationship is better between Hurts and Sirianni, but it's mainly because they have the Kellen Moore buffer.
Okay.
Hurts is talking to Moore, and Moore's relaying to Sirianni. Hurts does not like him. And, there's a difference between doesn't like him and doesn't trust him. And I think that's both for him. That's my only question mark in Philly. Is, the Saquon Barkley thing could get mixed up in this whole offensive Sirianni problem.
Really quick on this, you mentioned about Sirianni possibly getting fired. I don't think we've ever had a year in an off season where a season has started where we've had 2 extremely proven coaches still out on the market with Vrabel and Belichick. Do you think there is a scenario where an owner gets really antsy and fires their coach and hires one of them? Because usually, if a coach gets fired, they promote from within as an interim coach.
Yeah.
Now you have 2 guys you can hire outside the organization that are proven. So will that make an owner a little quicker to pull the trigger?
No, I think Vrabel is no different than, the names rhyme. Vrabel and Dable. I don't think there's a difference really. I don't. I think Dable's a good coach who got saddled with Daniel Jones. He didn't want to draft. He wanted to draft a quarterback this year, but they said, you make the right decision. And he picked up a wide receiver. Okay. And there's mock drafts already out for year 2030. And I will tell you that right now, if the Giants don't look good this year, their mock draft looks like Shadur Sanders. And he's a way bigger upgrade. So
he's a great talent coming.
So as long as Dable stays on his defensive theme standard and the Giants go 8-8, the organization will sit there and go, okay, he hasn't regressed, but Daniel Jones needs to go, and we need to draft a quarterback. All right, Brian,
Mhm.
you got the wide receiver. As long as Neighbors looks good, they will stick with Dable. Okay,
And last year they got the defensive lineman with
from Carolina. That's right.
It starts with a T. I can't remember his name.
That's okay.
TH something. But anyways, he's a stud. He's a stud.
So what I think is interesting, though, is Dallas. Because it's the one place Bill Belichick can solidify his career in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
His career has just been phenomenal. But he still hasn't done the same thing that Tom Brady has. Tom Brady left somewhere he was and became successful somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bill Belichick was offered the Jets job, if you remember the history of it, with Parcells being the GM and picking his groceries.
Yeah. Yep.
And he went,
he made the team deficient talent-wise.
and he went, you know what? I'm going to do a better job than you did in New England. That's what drove him over the years. And he stuck it to him, didn't take the Jets' top job and took the Patriots' job. Well, there's another place that Parcells really wished he did better in his later term career and really just couldn't turn the franchise around. That is the Dallas Cowboys. Remember the big team that took the sidelines again? And he did okay. He just didn't quite get there. And I think that job for Bill Belichick is super appealing for that reason, going, if I can get Dallas back to the Super Bowl, Bill never did that. I think he measures his career. I think he measures his career and what he is as a man, as a coach, by what the other guy didn't accomplish to be better. I really do. And I think that if that Dallas job opens up, Bill's going to take it.
I think that would be a good fit too there. I really do.
He gets a very even-keeled quarterback, which is Dak Prescott. Oh, but he's not. I don't want to hear about what he's not. We don't care about that. We're going to block for him. We're going to keep some of the offensive stuff in line. By the way, he gets Micah Parsons, who's been compared to Lawrence Taylor. Didn't Bill like Lawrence Taylor? Yes, he did. And now I can deploy him however which I would like to. And I'm telling you, if Belichick goes to Dallas, he does not care about the offense. And that team becomes dangerous. Well, John, he only hired yes men. Kind of. Because the truth is that when he wanted to, when he got past Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson won him, the yes men never won anything there.
No.
Bill Parcells was not a yes man and started to turn it around, and he kind of wanted to walk away because Jerry wanted to nose in. Jerry's too old to nose in now. And by the way,
he's old enough now to where he knows he's running out of time. So if he wants another championship, he needs to step back a little bit. So I think I don't think he would have an issue hiring Belichick and saying, "Yo, I'm stepping back for now. Do your thing."
There's no way you can question my acumen. I know. Yeah. I forgot. Bill Belichick forgot more about football than Jerry Jones ever watched. So you can't say I can't coach. You can say
Belichick's not going to come in and bring in his guys. Belichick is gonna coach the people that are there right now.
Now you can argue that what would happen there is Jerry would want the package deal. And the package deal would include Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel.
Oh, did you imagine that?
No, but I'm being for real here, right?
Because so then when Belichick retires, Vrabel could take right over.
And Bill Belichick would bring in Josh McDaniels, who doesn't have a job right now.
Of course he would.
Yeah. No, but now the gang is back together, and I'm not asking you to find talent. We don't think you're very good at that.
Yeah.
But Bill, I have the talent.
But you're good at coaching it.
But Bill, I look at Bill. He's sitting there and goes, doesn't he look like Lawrence Taylor? He looks like him, doesn't he? Oh, he's so fast. Oh, he's like, he calls himself a lion. Yeah, let me look at You got this guy over here, CD Lamb, Lion and the Lamb. You see, like, and he'd be showing the team off.
Yeah.
That's what he would be doing. Oh, and Dak Prescott, yeah, he just sets up Campbell commercials for his family and doesn't really do anything else. And well, you already know Ezekiel Elliott's right.
Yeah. I mean, you had him on your team. You
That's
don't like
right.
him, and then you can go with somebody else.
And I think that all those parts are appealing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that's most appealing is that I can have a better record in Dallas than Bill Parcells. Jack, he can't be that petty. I'm telling you.
No,
it's
he
not
can
about
be.
money.
He can, yeah, he can.
Not
be.
about money once you get to these levels. I got 4 yachts, you got 4 yachts.
Yeah.
Well, I got the marble steering wheel. You're like, I got the wood. And I go, well, marble's better.
Marvel.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. My closets in my yachts lined with cedar. What's yours lined with? Like little things, just those little things.
Just the little. Oh yeah, it cost an extra $1,500, but we didn't mind. We want to have the best when we have our friends over. Oh
Yeah.
what a jab.
You only got that wood. Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
You got, but everybody thinks that it's about money. It's not. It's about those little things, and I just think that I don't think that Belichick is. I think he's paused, but I don't think he's done.
I don't think so either. If he can get the right opportunity, like I said, with Dallas, I know, what you call it. I personally wish he would have got the Atlanta job. Personally, I think he could have done a really good job there. They have a team down there. I think he could work with. But you give him a solid team. The guy showed he can coach. He can coach.
Well,
he can coach even with mediocre talent. He can coach.
And it's like, why wouldn't he pick the Giants? And I'm going to tell you, he's been a success in New York. He was a defensive coordinator. He won some Super Bowls under the guy, under Parcells. Okay, he doesn't have enough time to win more Super Bowls than Parcells there. But he does have a time to go down to Dallas and prove that he could start something again, be more successful than the guy he's looked up to all these years.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, just if it's something crazy like a 40-21 record and Parcells' record was 39-23.
It's that one extra. That's all. Like you said, when you reach those levels with those type of guys, that's all it is. It's that one or two more. It's that little bit of hedge that you have over that.
He would name his new boat Predecessor. He would. No, he would.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, that's all I got today.
Yeah. I think this was a great one. This is something that it went from me doing a mock draft by myself to doing a mock draft with Jack, back to our Every Point Fantasy, our Every Point Sports podcast. So I mean, we were a little bit everywhere on this one. So
it's fun to have John on though and comment with us and hang out with us too. That was, it was a treat to have somebody who likes and subscribes to our channels on here and hanging out with us, because that's what it's about.
Yes. People that showed up: Brock, Patrick, Justin, John, Zane, Ethan. We greatly appreciate every one of you guys stopping in, saying hi. We actually have a few people in here from YouTube. So, yeah, there we go. So we have YouTube, Facebook in here. So yeah, we were across the board on this one.
Did the crowd work? I tried to do the crowd.
I heard it. I got a little applause.
Did you really hear my crowd applause?
No, I didn't hear it there.
Yeah,
I heard
sometimes
something before, or maybe that was somebody in the background that I heard.
It could have been me doing this.
Maybe.
I am my own crowd.
Hey, sometimes you have to be your own crowd.
All right, guys, we will not see you back here next Sunday.
You will see me broadcasting my my draft. I will be back here on Sunday at 1:00 broadcasting my draft. But as far as Every Point Sports podcast, we're going to take a week hiatus again. But I will be personally on here broadcasting my draft. So
Maybe I'll be on too because
I'm
we're on
sure
the same
Jack
draft.
will be on too.
I
Absolutely.
probably, if you want to do that, if you want to have a special draft show because that's what we're doing, I'm in.
Yes. All right. So Jack and I will have a special draft show next week, which should be
Oh,
fun.
and it's not. This is for our league. This is
Oh,
not.
yeah, this isn't a
no
mock
messing
draft.
around.
Yeah, this is legit. This is no me telling Jack 4 picks later who I'm thinking is going to be a good pick. No.
I'm only coming on to try to get you to tell me.
I'm sure.
All right, guys.
All
We'll
right,
see you
Jack.
next Sunday, same time, same channel. Better information.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great week.
Every point.